Hey everybody, that's little Plazz here, the little Plazz, Zazoo Plazz. How's everybody doing? Here for my Sunday report, August 13th, 2023. I don't know if I can get this done. I might need my sunglasses today. All right. I don't know. It's like mid-afternoon. I think I'm going to go with the other ones. I'll go with the other ones, and I got my hat here. I'll wear the other ones later. I found a place. It's kind of buggy today. I'm on the other side because somebody's doing something over there. I don't know what the heck. Somebody's doing some work over there, some tree clearing or some pool cleaning, and then there's some guy over there. They're putting brick around the trailer that they brought for the school, and they're trying to get it done before school starts. So, oh my God, what is that, a hawk? I just saw like a big bird over there. Wow. Perfect for the song for today. I'll let you know what that is. I'll give you a little hint. Wow. I just saw a bird fly over there. Anyway, yeah, so, well, there's the plane to start the Zazoo report. And we got the pond over there. I'm on the right-hand side this week. I'm out here and in the woods. So we'll see how this goes for a little bit. Yeah, I didn't go with the sunscreen because I figured I'd be in the shade over here. Maybe I should, I'm just going to go in the shade here because I think this is going to be distracting. I'll go back to my old place here. In the nice shade. That's better. Now I'm in the shade. That's good. Okay, because if I have to deal with the sun setting coming down over the hill, I'm not going to be concentrating on my Zazoo report. So there we go. That's better. Okay, now we have our logistics sorted. I am your host, Zazoo Plazz, also known as the bird lady in the woods. All right, what is it today? Oh, yeah, I finally got out of the house. I'm so much better when I get up at night and sleep during the day. Because when I'm up the same time as everybody in my house, I end up doing all this other crap that I wouldn't be doing if I weren't awake the same time as everybody. I mean, I go get my workout done. Everybody's having breakfast. So because I'm there at the same time, my husband's making his pancakes. I'm like, having my breakfast. The kid just takes off. My youngest son, he's going back to college in a week or two. He just leaves all his stuff all over the place. And he's in the living room on the lounge chair, with his earbuds, looking at his videos and stuff. He's totally oblivious. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it. Because before I know it, I'm cleaning out the freezer, and my grocery delivery thing came and like 2 hours late because I usually go with Saturday morning, but for some reason, I wanted to see, this is what I do. My husband said, oh, your leftover salmon, it wasn't good last week. I said, yeah, because I get it delivered on Saturday, I eat it on Monday, and Tuesday it's leftover. This is if I don't get the frozen salmon. If I get the frozen salmon, then I can just take it out the night before and cook it on Monday, and it's still good on Tuesday. There's a whole method to my madness here, Nobody thinks the way. These guys, they don't know how I run the whole thing. I come from a line of women who, like my mom. She was one of those multitasking, amazing women who could do, but she didn't use computer, she didn't use, apps and stuff like I do. She was old school. She made her list and everything. But she knew down to a tablespoon, how much flour she had, how much sugar she had. You know, you ask her anytime, she just knew, right? There was no telling my mother anything. She just knew. With me, it's more of a feeling, you know, and it can go from extreme displeasure to extreme pleasure, all in about 30 seconds. Sometimes more. So, you know, and I can take a little tiny thing and blow it up into a big mountain. So this all kind of relates to the scriptures today and the whole thing that's going on. So yeah, about the kid. So I'm going to talk about that today. Just to set the ground rules here, I'm going to talk about how, you know, and with the universe, with God, I think, sometimes the biggest things in the world are just not that big a deal. And sometimes the littlest, tiniest things are the biggest deal. Sometimes in our world, they blow, you know, they want to distract us, whoever they is, you know. People out there, they want to keep you busy on the little hamster wheel, thinking that you gotta prepare for this and that, you know. And meanwhile, look at the birds. The birds just fly. The trees just are. They're just being trees. Like my friend here. Dogs are just barking. You know, it's not like they have to think about it. They just do it. Right? So I got to thinking, and that's always dangerous. But, so you know, of course the kid says today, oh, I'm going to need a bed for my, he's going to live off campus, but it's close to UConn. It's close to the campus. But it's off campus, so he needs to get like insurance, renter's insurance, and all this stuff. So he's on the meal plan, but not as much. So he's kind of in that, you know, junior. He's a junior. Because he transferred sophomore year over from University of New Haven. So, you know, he's going to be an upperclassman, but he's not, the rest of him hasn't caught up yet. You know, it's like, you know, I forgot. I think about my own, you know, off-campus days. And, you know, all the things that, all the little details and things that, you know, my mom would help me. We'd go to, I don't know, back then we'd go to like Job Lot or something, and we'd stock up on things for the kitchen and just, you know, junky stuff. I think I lucked out, and they always had a bed in everywhere I lived. I rented like furnished apartments in Boston. Brighton is where I rented, because I was in Newton is where I went to school, Chestnut Hill, just outside of Boston. But this kid, you know, apparently he needs a bed. He needs to like get, you know, everything. So like, okay, Bed Bath & Beyond is gone. What are we going to do? Go on Amazon and order a bed? I mean, it's like, you know, I had to think for a minute. It's not the same world that, you know, even my oldest son, when he went to school, college, everywhere he stayed, he had a bed. I don't know. But anyway, so there's all these little things as a parent you have to think about. And, you know, I'm just going to let them kind of work it out. And, you know, finally I get rid of those blankets and his freaking comforter, maybe, that have been sitting in my laundry room since May. They were washed by me eventually because I just couldn't stand them on the floor of my, you know, 2 feet by 3 feet laundry room. Oh, it's a little bigger than that. Maybe it's 4 feet by 5 feet. I don't know. But it's a little closet. So, you know, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment having them home, and it's an adjustment sending them back. But you've got to do it. It's one of those things you got to go through, you know. To get from here to there, you've got to get them through. And you do what you can as a parent. You do your best. You know, that's all you can do. Because you have to live your life, right? You know, there's a certain point where you got to start delegating to people, because you'll drive yourself crazy if you try to be the most perfect. You're putting that pressure on other people, on your kid to be perfect, your kids' teachers to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. Whenever I start getting in that mindset, I know I set myself up for failure. And now I know I spot myself getting in that Mercury and Virgo. Then Venus and Leo, she wants to be the queen. Woo, look at me. Mercury and Virgo's like, I gotta check off everything on my list, and I get my little red stapler. I was told that I would be in the business and I would be able to go and work in the business, and he is making me move to the basement. I have my little red stapler. Milton from Office Space. That's kind of Mercury and Virgo vibe. Oh, there's the boy. Anyway. All right, so what was I saying? Oh, the readings today. Yeah, I'm getting there. So God's trying to get a message through, obviously. So it starts off with kings, more kings. We're still in Leo season. Okay. You hear the big winds, right? The earthquakes, the fires. We have all of those going on right now. Somewhere in the world, the poor people in Hawaii, they have fires. There's winds and earthquakes quaking, and people, there've always been, But where on the news do you hear that there was a little whisper? And that was where God was trying to get in touch with you, right? But there are forces that would have you not get still and listen for that voice, because when that voice gets through, it starts getting louder and louder and louder, and then other people hear you. It's not just a whisper, right? It's become a scream. That's what I think that song means. It's a song for today. It's called. All right, so I guess there were a couple of them. The one I was thinking was released in the UK, June '83, new wave song, but it came out in the US a little bit later. They reworked it, summer of '84. It was on Billboard, number 37, I guess. And it was originally called Birds Fly. The Icicle Works was the name of the band, is the name of the band. I guess they're still around. But it was Birds Fly, Whisper to a Scream, British alternative rock band Icicle Works. And then to re-release it in the US, they had to make a couple changes. They take out like some woman's voice was in the beginning of it, and they took that out. And they flipped the title and they called it Whisper to a Scream, Birds Fly. So they took the birds and they put them second, I guess. But there was also a Whisper to a Scream Elvis Costello song, which I'd never heard, because I'm not really into Elvis Costello. I was more into this, I was into alternative and, new wave, big time. So this would have been summer I graduated high school, '83, into when I first started college in '84, which is perfect, because we got our 40th class reunion from high school coming up. And I'll get to that in a minute. But so it all kind of, I guess they used this song also on the Stranger Things, that show about kids in the 80s. I started watching it. I got bored. I didn't really get into it because I wasn't really a little kid in the 80s. I was in college and high school in the 80s. In the early 80s, I was in high school. I was already past that. So I don't really get it. But I guess there's like a sci-fi thing to do with Stranger Things. And this band, Icicle Works, they got their name from a 1960 short story by someone named Fred Pohl. It was a sci-fi story, The Day the Icicle Works Closed. It's kind of one of those dystopian things, But I guess the whole idea was that, there's these big, powers at the top of the hierarchy who are blocking the good citizens of the town, or most of whom worked for this factory, from the rest of the galaxy. So, you got to wonder about these things. It's not too far from what could be happening now, where, you've got some people controlling the media, maybe. You've got some people, and probably so it's always been. But so if you're here and the galaxy's here and there's stuff in the middle, maybe you got to find a way to go directly to the source without letting the stuff in the middle, get in the way. It's interference, right? And they're making a big deal. It's like banging the drums so you can't hear the pure voice of spirit inside. That's what you have to pay attention to, and they know it. Whoever wants to distract us, they know that. Because they know once that whisper gets through and becomes a scream, then, enough people hear that whisper, and it's hard to ignore. So, this is what I think about. So then you have Paul to the Romans, and he's saying, okay, he's got the flesh on one side, his human ancestors, right? He's saying, the Israelites and all those. It's kind of like, you look at your family tree. You have your DNA, right? All the people you're related to, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, sisters, family tree. And then you have your spiritual, your soul family, right? So what he's kind of saying is like, would that I wish that I could, he's saying I can feel for my human family, because he's in the body, he's of their, and as Jesus in the flesh was when he came down here, in that line, right, that lineage. But his real lineage was from God, right? And so are we, right? We're spirit in flesh. So, there's a point. Who do you listen to? Are you going to, hear the promptings of your soul? Your sort of that whisper, right? That your soul, people in your soul family trying to get through to you, Or are you blocking that out? And you think that all you have is, your loyalty to your flesh lineage, right? I think we come to a point where we gotta learn to tell the difference. What are you spending your time on, right? You're spending your time, trying to become, work off your karma, become, more evolved as a person. Really spending that time on yourself, really paying attention. Or are you just like spinning on the hamster wheel, going 1 week to, and right? Because sometimes, the days just drag. When I'm not doing stuff that lights me up, my writing, my, all the different projects that I have, time goes by like that, right? I'm trying to, it's hard to explain, but when you're a kid in school and you're looking at the clock, or at work, right? And you're in that soul-sucking job, and the clock is just barely moving, right? That's a sign that you're doing the wrong thing. That's your soul telling you, Or when you're in a relationship, right? And you're with somebody who puts you to sleep. Just watching them puts you to, what? Oh, okay. You know what I mean. Anyway, there's something there, for me anyway. I mean, not that I'm talking about myself here, but in general, that's a good way of sort of a litmus test, whatever. I get itchy. So yeah, so and then we have Peter walking on the water, which I was going to use Eddie Money, Walk on Water, but it's so obvious. Just didn't do it for me. But yeah, it's like, what do I have to do to, show you that I'm really God? It's like, Peter starts walking in the water. I'm walking on the water, and then all of a sudden, right? He started doubting. He started losing faith in his ability to manifest miracles himself, right? Jesus didn't do anything. It's Peter himself who started doubting that God, started losing faith, that God was working through him and would protect him, right? It's kind of like, when I was a little kid and I was learning how to swim, and my dad would say, hey, jump, I'll catch you. Everybody's probably, or something like that. A little baby. Ever watch a little baby learning to walk, and the dad says, hey, come here, I got you, and that first step, right? Those first few tentative steps, the jumping in the water. You think your dad's gonna, never mind that meme where the dad throws his kid into, Dad, I can't swim. Well, yeah, you'll figure it out. Those of us, I remember having our boys, my husband would stand in the pool, or I'd stand in the pool, and the, kid would be on the side, hey, jump, jump, Dad, come on, jump, Mommy will catch you, it's okay, right? You see their face. Do I believe, is Mommy gonna catch me? Or, am I in trouble here? And then, if you're lucky, kid, jumps and you get them, and let's do it again. Then we want to do it again and again and again, and then it goes on all day. But that first tentative time, right? Jumping in without the life vest and the wings and the whole whatever, you gotta do it at some point. So we're no different when we're grown up, right? So maybe, we're proud that we can do all those other things, but, there comes a point in life where you've got to step out on your own, right? You've got to become responsible for yourself, for your stuff, for the things you've done, and you've got to have the faith that, it's for your best. Whatever you've been through, whatever you're going through, it's all for your future growth, for your, your soul's improvement. So that's kind of, that's kind of like the whole thing there, the whole, and I like the birds images, the whispered, birds fly. So, that's like the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is represented by water, walking on the water. The birds flying, it's spirit, right? The tongues, the fire, all those are the symbols that the Bible uses to convey spirit. So, yeah, and all of us have that. We all have flesh, strength, yeah, we are all God's children. We all are your children, right? In the song, you look at the lyrics and it's like, we are, but your children. We're all God's children, right? We're all children of the universe. And yeah, so I think this is just the best song. And yeah, so it was released around June of '83. It's British alternative rock. And yeah, so this week I found out that there's a Facebook page. I guess it's been there for my class. I didn't know about it. Class of '83 from my Catholic high school. And there's like 60 people on there, and hopefully there will be more. Hopefully it'll increase. But, you never know. And I probably won't decide till the very last minute if I'm going, because that's how I am. I have to let it kind of percolate a little, see if it's something I want to lend my energy to, you know. So I'm not making any promises. In the old days, I used to say, oh yeah, I'm going. And then the next week, maybe not, maybe not. So I'm holding off. I may go or I may not. I told my friend, it's one of my best friends we were in school from elementary school through high school. I said, you know, if it's through our high school, and because it's a Catholic high school, I want to get this out there. Those of you who went to public school, it's different. Catholic school, it's all about the fundraiser, right? So when you go to your reunion, you're giving money, and you know, maybe half of it goes toward your meal, or maybe, I don't know, a third, and the other 2/3 goes toward, you know, some other kid's tuition to go to the school. Not even my kid, you know, my kids went to public school. But, you know, it's like I wish that we could have it like my parents they went to a public high school, and the class had a fund. And when you give money to your reunion, it goes in your little class fund. How do we know that we even have a class fund? If it's going through the school, the last reunion I went to was the 25th, and it was because we ended up, I mean, this is a way to not feel old anymore, is you go to the school, they put us in the damn cafeteria. Here we were, I was, 43 or something, my last one that I went to. I skipped the whole 30th and 35th. And the reason I skipped the 30th was they had it in like September. It was like an hors d'oeuvre thing, and it was like mid-afternoon in September at some hotel. I mean, September, I'm just not in the mood. So, you know, I just wasn't. And then the 35th, I was going to go, but it was like October, but it was parents' weekend at my oldest son's college. So there's no way I would have made it back from New Haven to go. You know, I would have been exhausted that night going, so I had to skip it. But, you know, I have good intentions to go to this one, the 40th, and just, you know, see if I can get some stories for my next book. Just fair warning. If you see me there, I'm going to be taking notes. Anyway, and I guess I haven't changed that much. So yeah, the 25th though kind of sucked because they put us in the cafeteria with the class of I don't know. There was like 5 classes there, like 78, 83, which are boomers, 83, 88, 93, and maybe 98. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of people that I didn't know, and we're all crammed at like, you know, 3 or 4 little tables, our class, and there's, you know, boomers out there dancing to like boomer music, and all of us are like just, you know, sitting there drinking. No, we didn't. I don't even think we had. No, we didn't even have booze at that. A bunch of people. I think they just had a buffet. I don't even think they had drinks. A bunch of people went to. There's this guy in my class whose dad owned a restaurant, and so he took over like his dad's restaurant, Italian restaurant. A bunch of people ended up at the bar at Elmo's. That's the name of this place. So I didn't go. I was with my husband, and we just, it was all guys going, and none of my friends, so I didn't go. And I also lost my sapphire bracelet that I wore at that reunion. I think I probably lost it in the hallway somewhere, you know, walking around by the lockers at my old English teacher's room. I talk about that in my book. But the people that I wish would be there would be, you know, like the people I was in classes with, you know, the people I write about in the book. Most of my good friends have moved all over the country, and so they won't be back. They're in Florida, California, you know, Virginia, all over the place. So, you know, maybe it's time for me to move one of these days. You know, you start getting to the point where what the heck am I doing here? So go see the world. So anyway, birds fly. Eagles. Eagles. Go Eagles. So that's about all I have to get off my chest this week. Tune in next week for more details on the class reunion and other things. So take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.